or that the world is ending in 300 years, imagine how much is going to drop further. If we continue along this line, we have so many global issues affecting us that require urgent solutions so that we can fix. When we are being faced with these problems and we are just choosing to ignore them and say, oh, it's going to be fine, or oh, damn the consequences in turn come to damn us. And that is what is happening here. We are already having or seeing a low standard of living worldwide, regardless of wherever we think that, oh, there's some exceptions, oh, Dubai, whatever. Those places exist as a result of the consequence or as the expense of other places in the world. We are experiencing global warming, we are experiencing world hunger on record levels, we are experiencing climate change, we are experiencing so many things on a global level. If we continue along this path, we will even see more people fall into poverty, fall into hunger, fall prey to diseases, fall more deaths, and even lower standard of living worldwide. Many people do not have access to adequate healthcare. And if we continue along this path, if we keep things the way they are, or if we choose to keep things the way they are, this is what we will keep on having. The situation will keep on getting even worse. The second point is that it will induce a state of panic. And we all know that panic is not something that human beings in general handle well. When everybody knows that, oh, 300 years that we would have, that the human race will no longer be in existence, it will lead to what we call hoarding of human resources, hoarding of monetary resources. And there are already not enough of those in circulation. What do you think will become of the world then? So increase uh, people will be like, oh,
Speaker, I just sorry. Speaker, can
coming
you
day,
hear
or
me?
it will that look
Speaker, can you hear
plan
me?
what's the need to act between.
Hello,
Yes.
PM.
Hello, can you hear
Yeah, you
me?
are breaking. No, like pause your time. You're really breaking.
Okay, please, can you let me know where I stop?
Yeah. Before I said, before I understood you before you were talking about when you were talking about likelihood of panic and why panic is something that human beings don't handle well. That's what that's the last thing I understood from your speech.
Okay, please confirm that you can hear me clearly now.
Yes, you're better now.
All right, thank you. My third point is that it will induce a state of panic. A state of what? Panic. And when human beings do not handle panic well, when people hear or people get to know that there is imminent danger or there is imminent threat to their existence, they do not handle it very well. The way they would react or the actions they would take as a result of getting to know this information that, oh, look, we will not be here 300 years to come. It will induce a state of panic. People will not be making rational decisions. You will see the prices of things will come up. Global markets will literally crumble. People will start hoarding things. Let's give an instance in Nigeria today. The moment you hear that, oh, fuel prices are about to increase, not even that they have increased though, you will see everybody will buy fuel en masse and start hoarding it. They'll buy goods en masse and start hoarding it. So those are the kind of things that will happen once people get to know that, oh, we will not be around in so years to come. It will induce a state of panic, and this will also make people to increase consumption of resources. When people get to know that, oh, tomorrow we might not be here, some people be like, oh, damn it all, why even be responsible with money, why even be responsible with resources? They would not even take all those things to account. So when this first option that the sage took, it was not even a very wise one. It was not one that is in the best interest of human existence. It is not. It has been proven time and time again that if we do go down this route, without changing anything, without taking into account a lot of things, you would see that we would end up in damnation. There is literally no way forward. And the first instinct is to what? To make sure that they survive. Any living creature, we
Uh,
owe it to ourselves our existence. So this means that we as human beings
speaker, please calm down. Calm down. I
should
can't hear you.
try as much
PM, I can't hear you, Prime Minister. Please calm down.
as possible to
Is it just me or I can't even hear her at all?
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes,
Hello.
yes, I can hear you. I can hear you. Please stand where there's good network and don't leave there, please. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, speaker?
Hold on, let me leave and join back and see if it make a difference.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Please.
You have 1 minute left, just 1 minute.
Okay. As I was saying, we all human or all life in this world have a natural instinct to preserve their survival. It's called survival instincts. So we as humans owe it to ourselves to ensure the preservation of human existence. Also, picking the second option of having the population or having the world's population will ensure optimal human existence and provide a thriving human civilization. When resources are more than the amount of people in the world, you see there will be optimal human civilization. There will be optimal amount of resources. Everybody will have their needs met, and there will still be remaining for there will still be extra. So this is necessary because it will reduce hunger, it will reduce poverty, it will reduce or solve 99.9 of most of humans' problems. When humans' needs are met. Hello?
Yeah, time of speaker.
So yes. So with this, I believe that the second option will be more favorable for humans' existence. Thank you.
We thank the speaker for that fine speech, and we call on the leader of opposition to begin the debate.
To confirm if I'm audible.
Yeah, you're audible.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Congratulations on the final round, everyone that made it here. Thank you, the panel. Okay, we begin. POI preference, just unmute and signify I would have you. I begin my speech. Now, Isagi was presented with a prophecy. Human extinction in 300 years due to overpopulation and finite resources, right? And then he was given two options. Maintain the status quo, that is leading to eventual extinction. Maintain that status quo, live your life, your normal life, right? And then a second option, eliminate half the population to ensure resource sustainability. Eliminate half the population to ensure resource sustainability. Now, the Sage chose the first option, which was maintaining the status quo, living and letting others live. He understood very well that not even him would be there in that 300 years to come, because I wonder that world where one would live up to that 300 years. That means there is also sustainability, right? There is growth. If there is assurance that everyone existing at that point would be alive in the next 300 years, that is causing overpopulation. There will not be any death. There is also sustainability. Now, he decided to maintain the status quo because, one, he knew that it was very difficult to eliminate half the population. It is not done anywhere. Now, what do we ask? What measure would he have used to eliminate half the population? Let's be realistic here. Let's not try to bring this as a fairy tale. What measure would he have used as a single, as a sage, to eliminate half the population, to ensure that they lived more than 300 years? Secondly, population, a guarantee that there will be resource management scheme. Now, no matter the population, if there are frivolous users, if there are people that do not know how to manage resources, it wouldn't even help anything at all, because one, it is also going to cause the resource redundance. People are not going to actually live the right way like they think they were going to live if this thing was done, if eliminating half the population was done. And now, what do we bring to you? Moral and ethical implications. Now, mass elimination is inherently wrong and violates human rights. Who are you going to kill? Who are you not going to leave? Who are you not going to kill? Sorry. Who is going to sacrifice himself for there to be an extension in the human race? Who is going to allow himself to be killed? His generation, his family, his background to be eliminated so that another family would be would live more than 300 years. Now, you find out that it's going to also, we bring our second option, bring chaos and uncertainty, right? Because Sage is going to enter the process of eliminating people. Who is he going to eliminate? Chaos is going to erupt. Now, if chaos erupts, what happens? Life becomes brutal. Life becomes short, even more lesser than the 300 years of extinction, because everybody is going to actually establish or get himself and his family gathered, not to be eliminated. Every family background would want to witness more than 300 years, right? And then you are telling me that you want to eliminate me so that another family would live more than 300 years. And you find out that it doesn't just make sense, and there will be chaos. Everybody will protect himself. Everybody would like to guard his own life and that of his family, right? And now we tell you something about the uncertainty of the prophecy. Now, remember, it is a prophecy. It was told to him by someone. The Sage couldn't guarantee the accuracy of the prophecy. Now, imagine eliminating half the population, and now it turns out that this prophecy is fallacious, is a fallacy. What happens? He would eternally live in regret, because these lives that have been lost have been wasted even without any purpose, right? Now, there is no value of human life, sorry. Every human life has inherent value and dignity regardless the circumstance. Now, eliminating lives just to prove a point is not necessary. And now he goes on with the first option, live and let's live. Let's see how it goes. After 300 years, none of us is going to be here. Our generations to come, we would hand this over to them, and then it continues through that process till the final lap. And then what if this prophecy is fallacy? Now you find out that the generations after the 300 years would be happy because of this one decision that their forefather Sage made, right? Because he didn't eliminate them. He didn't cause chaos in the society. He allowed everyone live, and then he made sure that there was continuity. Now, violation of human rights, we've stated the intrinsic value of human life. We've told you that every life has inherent values, regardless of the circumstance. Now, we bring about moral absolutism. Now, the Sage's decision crosses a moral boundary, setting a dangerous precedence if he had killed half of the society, right? Now, remember, it is just 300 days. Sage would kill half of the population, and then they live more than 300 days. And in the next 300 days, after that one has elapsed, there is also going to be another cut in population. Now, this is a very dangerous precedence, because let's assume that every 300 days, half of the population is wiped. Now, what are we bringing to the forthcoming generations? That is a very dangerous precedence to set. Now, slippery slope. Allowing such drastic measure may lead to future erosion of human rights, right? Because there would be mapped out people to be killed after every 300 days. There will be a generation to be wiped after every 300 days, right? And then uncertainty and unintended consequences. Now, prophecy uncertainty, we've stated that, and also unforeseen circumstances. Now, eliminating half the population could have an unforeseen effect on society, economy, and environment at large. Now, loss of diversity, it reduces population. Now, reducing population could lead to loss of genetic, cultural, and intellectual diversity. There is a generation that would be wiped. If they are not wiped in this 300 years, in the space of these 300 years, then in the next space of 300 years, this family or generation would also be wiped. Now, there is social cohesion. This decision may fragment society. It may create diversions, and then it might create conflict. We've stated that. Now, long-term impact. The consequences of such an action would bring drastic measure and may persist for generations. When I remember that family A, that is family of Sagi, eliminated some members of my family for there to be continuity, there will be this hatred that will be built. Now we'll come to what the PM rightly stated. She stated sharp drop in the standard of living. What would bring a sharp drop in the standard of living other than cutting half of the society? Now, you have been relating with this person, and now all of a sudden, somebody. Okay, sorry.
We thank that speaker for that fine speech. Please time yourselves, guys. I don't want to be badgering out you guys. Please time. So I call on the Deputy Prime Minister to please advance the case for opening government.
I don't know if I'm audible.
Yes, you're audible.
Okay, thank you very much. So the info slide has already provided us with enough information that we need for this debate, and the motion is saying that the House regrets the decision of the Sage choosing to preserve the human population for 300 years. So as the Prime Minister has already given us, while this decision of the Sage was not advisable, in the sense that it will lead to an increased consumption of resources, hoarding of resources by those that have the capability. Let's not forget that in the society that we live today, there are classes. Not everyone has access to these so-called resources that are trying to be preserved. And then our leader of opposition came here to tell us that there will be resource management schemes. It's not those that are able to afford these resource management schemes that will be able to hold these resource management schemes, because you can't tell me that resources are being finishing, and you're now greed is something humans have intently. Once those in power, with power, that have the power to actually acquire these resources and keep them for themselves, then what they will do, they'll take these resources for themselves. You won't expect me, because okay, the world is ending tomorrow. What every family will try to do is try to preserve themselves, like the LO said. So instead of preserving themselves, it's not that those with power and these resources will keep these resources for themselves, locked up in a bid to preserve their families for the next coming years. And now, why the second decision gives us a head over the first is because once half of the population is resolved, first of all, we have a decreased population, which will lead to a decreased consumption of these resources at a lower rate. And whereby these resources there's a decreased consumption, these resources will last longer. And then this provided time would not give this generation, the available generation, the time to think out a solution. But then you can't tell me, okay, these resources are here, these resources are here, the population is not half. We find out that these resources would be consumed on a regular, but then humans would not have, they may not have, okay, like the elder said, there's just barely enough time. The average human life is maybe 100 years, the average human life, or let's just say 70 years. We find out that what can some a human, what can they start up in that 70 years that will actually come up with a plan to actually preserve these resources? We find out there's nothing they can actually do. So the better option is actually would have been to have the population, and then he was not like that. Who would we? The LO said who are the people that will actually be eliminated. You find out that even when these resources, okay, in the day to day, they've told you resources are not enough, and the world is to end in 300 years. We find out that the poor woman who lives on the road, she can't do nothing, but she will just stay there and die because there's nothing she can do to fight for the resources. I mean, because number one, these resources, they have already said they are going extinct, so they will be actually more sourced for in a bid to actually keep them for themselves, so that they can actually like hold it and see how long it lasts them. So what happens? Like the standard of living will get lower, but a situation whereby this a situation whereby the this thing, God, I was interrupted. A situation whereby the population is half, we find out that okay, since these resources, although still on a bit on a line of extinction, they are made more available. What humans can now do is take these resources and try to maximize them, look for ways they can actually preserve these resources. Not a situation whereby the population is so much, the resources are in high demand, as you are eating the resources, you're looking for a way to preserve them, looking for a way to make preserve them and try and multiply them. But then whereby the population is, we find out that there are enough resources for these people to live, and also come up with ideas to actually preserve these resources. Please ask your PY right now.
Is the guarantee that the old woman you think would die of hunger in the first option would not be killed also in the second option?
Now, isn't it better that she's killed? And we know that that is off. Please, we are not just talking about morality here. Fuck morality. This survival. That's basic. Even you find out that you made mention of morality and it's not good to kill and stuff like that. But please, that's not what we are asking of. And you also asked her, how is this this thing? How would the population of the world be halved? But now I want to ask you, if this option was presented, doesn't it mean that there was always a way to carry it out? So now that woman that would have stayed on the road, the poor people, the beggars and lost that don't have access to these resources, that would have died of hunger or something like that, isn't it better that they are not killed off and more poor people or some people who can't actually have these resources or are actually just lynching, because I'll say that they are just lynching onto these resources? Isn't it better that just eliminated, and those resources which they would have lynched on would still be there, they'll be preserved, so the question of who to is people at the lower, at the bottom of the who can barely hold on to these resources. They are just there, occupying space. So it's better they are cut off. So then you now ask how now if the population is halved, that means more resources, more time. Now what humans are giving more time? Let's not forget, let's use example of diabetes now. Let's not forget that diabetes was uncurable for years, but today we have a cure for diabetes. So I'm just saying to say, if these resources, if the population is halved and the nation, if population is halved and resources are there, it will give generation upon generation upon generation upon generation to come. Let's say from 200 years, we are giving up to 1,000 years. Up to 1,000, you can't tell me that from that time, generations would have thought of solutions to actually come up, maybe make a substitute for these resources or something like that, or technology, because every day the world evolves. But when it's only 300 years, because you just don't stay and think up of ideas. A project can be started in this generation and further carried down to the next generation. But a situation whereby it's only 300 years, is just like 3 generations. What can be achieved? There's nothing that can be achieved in 300 generations. And then therefore, so if this population is actually halved, it creates a better and it makes the world more stable. And then let's not also forget that it's just like maybe in school now, the way they have said only 100 this thing. only 100 students are going to law school. You find out that there's competition. The competition is tough. Everybody's struggling for a slot for this law school or something like that. Now, how much more something that will actually help you to be alive? The competition will be fierce, which will still isolate those weaker ones, and they'll just be still killed, which is still the killing you're still talking about that we should
Thank
not be
you,
prevented.
speaker. Time up, time up, time up. Thank the speaker for that fine speech, and we call on the speaker. If you get any position, please close up the opening half. DLO, please, are you there? Deputy Leader of Opposition.
He's having some network issue. Like he left the call now. He wants to join back and then see how smooth it would be.
Give me a maximum of 5 minutes to fix up that issue, just because it's a final. Oh yes, you're audible. Are you DLO?
Yes, I'm DLO. I'm sorry, it's just a little glitch.
Okay, beautiful. Please begin your speech.
Sir? Hello, please. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Please begin your speech.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much. My name is Bethel Chinomsu, and I'm the DLO on our today's motion. And I'll be following through with the accurate position of our bench, the opening opposition. Now, first of all, I would like to point out that this is a dilemmatic situation, which the Sage has to choose in between one of the two options, which will basically help him diffuse the dilemma. He will definitely choose the better option, the best option that suits his people, the best option that suits his country, the best option that suits the human race. And now, without continuing further, I want to point out that this thing is just a scroll. Now, if we are assuming without considering to the fact that it is just a scroll, that means a person who is in his leadership capacity is not allowed. He does not have the free hands to make a decision based on a scroll, based on a prophecy, if we put it that way, based on an uncertainty, because basically it will be in contrast with the rule of law. It will be in contrast with a lot of principles. It will be in contrast with science, because it's basically a probability. And then, in fact, making such decision will question his credibility as a leader. It will question, people will question the trust they have for him as a leader. And so I heard parts of the opening government talking about who affords this decision. This decision is a decision that lies with the Sage. He's the leader, he's the political head at that instance. And from the accurate from our timeline, we find that he's the political leader. Whatever he says, whatever he decides, is what becomes the option. And so, well, I believe that is cynical. Now, as if we are to assume, or if we are to agree with that, now let's look at the properties of that decision. Now, first of all, the first option he picks is the only and the best way to diffuse that dilemmatic situation, because we found out that, in fact, but the both of us won't be here if we are to agree with the opening government. The both of us won't be standing here if that option wasn't the best option for us. That option was the better option, and then he had to pick it. And then also want to understand something, that that's his decision or his option to pick the first option to preserve human life it reflects the type of leader he is. He's not just someone who cares about himself, because definitely if he picks the latter option, he won't be among those who will die. So what rationale are we going to use to eliminate the half of human race? Are we going to kill the old or young? Are we going to kill the blacks or the whites? Are we going to kill scientists and leave field workers? Are we going to kill field workers and then leave scientists? There is no proper rationale brought by the opening government half how we are supposed to go about eliminating the people who we are supposed to eliminate, in fact. And then another thing we need to point out is that we need to understand that this is the human race we are talking about. We are not talking about dogs and cats, eliminating half of the cats in the whole world and then allowing the remaining cats to survive. The human being is a very psychological being. And then if you want to treat or any matter, any subject matter that surrounds a human being, then it must be treated with some kind of level of emotions to understand where or what will happen, what will be the consequence. I believe that the consequences is not what should be taken into view, because the human is a psychological being, and then we can't even predict the total consequence of eliminating the half of human race just to make sure that another set of persons survive. You understand? It will be a biased decision by the leader to pick the letter judgment. I also want to say that it will be catastrophic to the society. Picking the letter option will be catastrophic to the society, and then it will also be against the natural order of things. It is expected that people should there should be a kind of natural evolution, and then this unnatural evolution will be allowed, and it will only be possible when we allow everybody to remain. The scientists, which will be in order, the field workers will be in order. You will find out that within those 300 years, I had the government bench saying that there will be no effective change in in 3 centuries. That is laughable, because how will you tell us? Because we've already seen now, sometime after the World War II, we know that the world was in disarray. It just took a few decades for technological advancements to spring up, and then mortality, birth rates increased again. All of this, everything came in a balance again, and then you're saying that in 3 centuries there will be no change. This 300 years allows both the surge and the human race to have enough time to conceptualize on things, know where their resources should go, proper planning. In fact, there are a lot of methods to go about it rather than extinguishing half of the human race. For example, he can take on birth rate control. There are a lot of controls that can be brought into place, and then being that he's the political leader, they could set up political government policies on governance that will help control and manage resources. You understand? There will be control and management of resources, which will help to make sure that the human race continues in existence. And then, if we are to bring this subject matter into the ethical framework, it is morally impermissible for somebody to kill half of the human race. Are you calling the said should become a Hitler and should extinguish some set of people because he believes, who will he allow to live? You understand? It is upholding the intrinsic value of human life. The value of human life should be protected first. And I believe that you understand. We all of us will agree with me that the human being is an adaptive being. It is someone who can develop skills, develop measures to go about the way. There's something called existential integrity. At least the problems we pass through will definitely make us arrive at a solution. There won't be a solution, there won't be a cure for what if we don't have a problem. I believe that the human race should be allowed to pass through that stage and then definitely arrive at a solution that will be lasting and for all. You understand? It is called existential integrity. And then, for the sake of hope and motivation, what will the future generation have as reference if we decide to kill off half of human race? You will make reference to your forefathers that they had to kill half of human race to make sure that you survive. It will put everything in disarray. Everything, the whole there will be a shift in mentality, there will be a shift in ideology. You understand that people will have to kill others to live. But then picking the first option is hope and motivation for the future generation. It will help people to become resilient. You understand? Accepting the first option is the best way to go about the whole affair. And then also, I want to point out something, that the fact that he picks the first option, it will foster sustainable development and technology. It will also preserve social stability. It will not lead to chaos. Picking the second option is directly leading the whole world to chaos, is directly leading the whole human race to chaos. Because I can't imagine a position where you say, okay, let's kill their father and leave the children. What will be the fate of the children? Or let's say, let's kill the children. What will be the fate of the man who you killed his child? You know, it will help to preserve social stability, preserve cultural stability. In a situation where you kill off half of human race, you have you have wiped off the cultures which are subsisting in that part of the world. I believe that with this point that we are proudly opposing this topic, and that the first option picked by the Sage is the better option in today's debate. Thank you so much.
Let us speak up for that fine speech. And we call on the member of government to open the closing round.
Good day. The member of government is currently not here. Let me check what's wrong with him.
Where's member of government now? If he's not here, where is he? Closing government. Where is the member of government?
Hello, I said that. Let me just contact him. I don't know why he's not here. I'm going to contact the member of government. Just give him some more time. Let me just contact him.
5 minutes tops.
Eh? What do you say? Okay, I will be representing the. I'll be take care of the member of government. If he's not going to be around, then I'll have to hire a man. So
Yes.
well,
The rules of BP, you Iron Man, so you will just take your outro.
Rema's network is too bad. Like his network is bad. He said he's trying to find network.
Okay. Just give the
So
member
yes,
speech and allow him to.
yes, I will give membership. Of fortunately, he may be able to meet up.
Okay, if I can,
Hello. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're audible.
Alright,
Remember,
alright.
can the other person use?
He's trying to find network. He may join in time, so but I'll be presenting him for now. So I'll go ahead. Am I being heard? Let's go ahead in 3, 2, 1. This house requires a decision to not to terminate half of the relation, but to preserve but to preserve them all for a long time. You see, the stage decision was a very selfish one. It was very willing to sacrifice the future of the world for now, and it's not in anyone's interest that in what we are taught in school, in ethically and morally, we are taught that we should always think for the future. All the plans we are doing now, we're planning for 2030, we're planning for our children, we're planning for our future careers, we're planning for our future. So, yeah, the state just makes one of the most ridiculous decisions ever. He says, let the future die, and let's preserve the now. And that's not as the that's not a feasible decision at all. That's a decision that that a leader does not carry, like that should be carried out as a leader. And so that will be my first point of why this house rejects a great decision of the sage. And secondly, we also say that the deputy leader of opposition and asked a question, about a point which the Guinea government did not address. And this point is that how how do we plan to keep half of the population and kill half of the population? In many states of the world today, there are very good systems that's using our present time. There are very good systems and records of people who are old. So what we do is take care. What we are going to kill are the old, those who are unproductive to the society, those who are who society can do without, those who are not who don't mean much to our society, and who start killing them, we may not really have much loss. So in the end, what we're having remaining are the intelligent, those who are efficient, those who can produce, those who can defend and the humanity, and those who can innovate. So yeah, and that addresses a point made by the leader of opposition that there won't be efficient resource management. But well, that is not really true, because we are in a world where we preserve the intelligence, those who are smart and those who are innovative. They will find ways to ensure good resource management and good resource management and allocation, and also optimization of our resources. Think about it. Which decision would have been more better and more would have brought about more happiness in our community? You see, our parents are more happy, no matter how you see it. If we succeed, then they succeed. They are all envisioning for us to succeed. They are all praying for us to succeed. And this is how the world looks at things. It looks at things. So, by destroying the old and the inefficient one, we are living to give way for the future, to give way for those who are young. Those who are inefficient may even be happier to give way for those people who will transform the world, who will be more efficient with their resources and in the production of goods and services. So economically, our side wins, our position wins. We end up producing much resources for people. And when we talk about much resources, we talk about both human resources, people who have intelligent, and like there's optimization of every single part of our society. And in this world, more people are more likely to live. And unlike what the leader of opposition says, that there may be a recurrence of this by wiping out half of humanity. We may set a certain dangerous precedents that may lead to a recurrence of this event again and again. That may not be entirely true, because in our world, as in our scenario, where we say that we keep the intelligent and the wise, intelligent and wise people, one thing you know about them is that they learn from their mistakes. And humanity, we do not underestimate the ability of humanity. They have the ability to learn from their mistakes and correct it. And so, I don't think in our world that there will be a recurrence of this situation again, because human beings will surely or use the resources optimally and make sure that this doesn't come to place. They'll take care of the use family planning activities and other things to make sure that they do not have to kill half of the population again. Our own is the moral, our own side is the moral one, our own side is the efficient one, our own side is the optimal one, our own side is the better side. I'm proud to propose. I'm done.
Speaker for the fine speech, and we call on the next speaker, leader, member of opposition. Please give your speech.
Good morning, panel. Good morning, House. I am Onwuka Chimere. And first of all, I would like to thank the panel and thank my co-debaters, for making it through the finals. It hasn't been easy. Okay, let's face the meat of the matter. Okay, come on. Let me read the motion. Scrolls were recently found or discovered that narrated the story of a sage who lived years back and had the opportunity to define what existence is as we know it. He was told that life would cease to exist in 300 years due to the growing population and finite resources in circulation. All right, thus he was presented two options. The first is that things to continue as they are, humans and eventually extinct. 300 years elapsed. The second is that had the chance to wipe out half of the human population so as to ensure surplus and become surplus and life can be sustained. The page ended up picking the first option. This house regrets the sage decision. All right, before I start, I would like to make some certain clarifications to the arguments raised by the member of government. I am quite shocked
that life does not have any dignity any longer, wiping out half of the population of the human race, and you say let us wipe out unproductive and old ones? Are you being serious? Can you just hear yourself? Wiping out a whooping amount of 4 billion people only because of sustainability, of not to cause chaos. It's quite ridiculous. And secondly, he raised the point that the state's decision was a selfish one. That's laughable as well, because number one, the sage prioritizes the survival of humanity and ensuring continuation of our species. And two, the sage considers the future consequences of wiping out half of the human population, shows the greater good. All right. He also the prime minister also talked about the drop in standard of living. Wiping out half of humanity would guarantee catastrophic of the population of the world of it would be. There could be mechanisms to be managed and control. Also, she also raised the point of the state's decision to induce panic. A 300-year timeline would allow for gradual adjustment and minimize panic and chaos. And also, it has been noted in the human history that human beings are resilient species, and they easily adapt to challenges and find solutions to better their lives. So I do not see the sensibility of wiping out half of the population. Okay, my point. What if that scroll is a pseudepical text? At this point, we cannot verify the authenticity of that scroll. We do not know who wrote it, because I can come up with a scroll that claims that the world would end tomorrow, and the only solution is that people should 50,000 people should be killed, and someone will say yes. Let me know that text that I am parading. Second, there is no justification. I would like to state categorically, there is no justification for the wiping of or killing of any human being. No human life is more valuable than that of the other. No position or the government bench will tell me, and I'll accept that the reason, the rationale, the out being serious. There is no justification whatsoever. We are talking about human life. Has human life lost its dignity to this point that, come on, no position could be better? Secondly, it is moral and ethical questions that as the leader of opposition has stated. Two, the value of life. Look, I've stated that choosing to end half of the population diminishes the sanctity of life and raises ethical concerns about who gets to live and who. All right, moral authority. The decision to take lives can set a dangerous precedence for future governance and moral reasoning. Yes, because it will become normalized. Since the sage killed, or if he accepted, since he wiped out half of the population, someone can also wake up and say, oh, it was done in the past. It's worthy of him. It's not worthy. Then we could also implement it. Secondly, respect for will. Human beings have free will, and allowing human beings to choose their path respects individual agency. The sage might have felt that people should have the opportunity to confront their issues and involve without external interferences. Also, the uncertainty of resource management. Reducing the population would not guarantee efficient resource management. Humanity might still face resource depletion. Even if wipe out
Can people hear me?
Yes, you're audible.
Yes, we can hear you.
Thank God. Sorry about that. So sorry. So sorry. Okay, so as I was saying, at any point when you guys stop hearing me clearly, you tell me, please. So as I was saying, I just want to counter some of like the last person that spoke before me, some of his points. First of all, the last point he made, he talked about workforce, there being a decline in workforce and stuff like that. And I'm like, so if you allow existence and humanity to keep on going like the way it is, following by the words of the scroll, if you allow it to keep on going the way it is, you think that the workforce will be perfect. Like, talking about the survival and everything at that time with little resources, you think that the workforce will still be like very efficient and active. So we all know that efficiency will reduce, therefore leading to like a decline in the economy, in the stance of the economy of the economy at that time. So it's not a valid point. Workforce continuity will allow for workforce efficiency. How? When everybody is struggling to get food to eat, you're telling me that the workforce will still be efficient. You don't think that and then you also talked about uncertainty of resource management. And I'm like, who is talking about resource management? I know it's one of the important things, but who is talking about resource management? We're talking of the depletion of resources. We're talking of the inavailability of resources, the inability of the resources available to cater for the needs of everybody, present. And you're talking about resource management. If we are like, if these resources, if we're talking about the number of resources available versus the number of people present in the economy, the number of people present for those available resources to feed, for those available resources to cater for. So nobody is talking about resource management. The thing that we're all looking at is how these resources will be able to meet these people's needs equally and in very efficient ways, so that people will not be struggling to survive, struggling to live. So tell me how the sage's decision does tell me how the sage's decision, tell me how it's like, makes for more resource, efficiency, more use of resources, more availability of resources. Tell me how it makes for that. Okay, now I would love to bring you all to the fact that the sage's decision prioritizes short-term sentiment over long-term sustainability. It dooms humanity to extinction by choosing to reduce the population. The sage condemns future generations. He condemns future generations to suffer, to perish due to resource scarcity. Yes, you don't even want to give them a chance. You're condemning them to suffer, you're condemning them to perish due to resource scarcity. Or his decision also fails to address the root cause of the problem. The root cause of the problem, which is inavailability of resources. His decision fails to address that. It fails to address that problem. Yes, there is a problem. There is a problem, and that problem is that the resources available cannot cater for the needs of these people, which is also going to bring in chaos. I think I heard him. He talked about half of the population would. Yes, he talked about chaos. He talked about chaos, and I'm like, allowing temporary existence will also cause chaos and lead to death. Allowing temporary existence will also cause chaos and lead to death. But if he wipes out half of the human population so as to ensure that the resources become surplus, so that life can be sustained past 300 years, more than 300 years, allowing temporary existence will cause chaos and lead to death. Yes, the opening government, yes, chief of parliament and then her member talked about, they've stated these facts, talked about hoarding, people will start robbing themselves and stuff like that, struggling to survive. Okay, yeah, now down to my points, down to like my major points. So I've talked about the sage's decision prioritizing short-term emotional comfort over long-term survival, and then reducing the population will ensure resource sustainability over the years, giving the future generations a chance a chance and you're telling me about moral obligations. Yes, throughout this debate, I've been hearing moral. Prioritizing greater good outweighs self-preservation. Like, to be very honest, prioritizing greater good outweighs self-preservation. Think of the future. You're telling me about moral obligation, but you're trying to deny the future generations the chance to live full lives. And then, yes, the opening government, they talked about if you give the future generations chances, they will come up with ways. They will come up with innovations too. They will come up with innovations. Then resource allocation will enable more efficient use. Resource allocation will enable more efficient use. And then I think I also had a lack of respect for human life. Lack of respect for human life. Yes, the sage's decision can, if you look at it some way, it can be seen as he doesn't have respect for human life. Him choosing to let humans go extinct instead of trying to save them. Can't you of human life? You don't want it to continue, you just want it to end. You're taking this little decision this due to short-term sentiments. You're not thinking of long-term sustainability. We
POI.
should try to POI, go on.
Why do you assume that reduction of the water population
Pure,
would automatically remove this problem?
pure order, please.
Please, I have like very little time, so I won't be taking POIs. Sorry about that. And then I'll bring to our attention. Do we know that China at some point in the year 1979 like gave a policy that each family is meant to produce only 2 children? Because yes, we can all agree to the fact that population is a problem, and it also brings about resource, like a depletion of resources. Yes, inavailability of resources to cater for everybody's needs. In 1979, China brought in a policy of 1979. Yes, the policy lasted till 2015. In 1970,
Speaker,
in the year
your time is up.
1979, it was just. I'm not hearing you.
Your time is up.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
We thank our speaker for that fine speech, and we call on the closing opposition.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible.
Okay, so thank you for this wonderful opportunity. And I'll be starting my speech 3, 2, 1. So I'm the last person, so I don't really need to start telling us what the motion is because we've been hearing it for a very long time. So I'd like to address the opening government and the closing government. You know, you guys have just been basically talking and talking and talking and have been laughing and laughing and laughing. Do you get? Okay, starting from the part whereby I've been hearing wipe out half of the population, wipe out half of the population. Okay, so I'd like to ask this question. Okay, more like let us imagine if President Tinubu now, let's assume this is in Nigeria, if Tinubu says that okay, Nigeria is now overpopulated and now he needs to wipe out a certain particular part of people, and now said that okay, people living in Abuja will not be wiped out. Then people living in Aba, people living in Abia State, people living in some places that does not really matter, if I can say that, they should be wiped out. Please, how will you feel? People living in that area, please, how will you feel? Certainly, you will not feel well. You will not really feel good. Now, the member of government said that they should wipe out people who don't mean much to the society. For crying out loud, are you aware of your words, or why will you say people that don't mean much to the society? For crying out loud, everybody that equal under the law. That means everybody mean a lot. Even a child, even a madman means a lot to the society. So saying wiping out people that don't mean much to the society, that is really, really, really out of point. And saying people will panic if they allow people to keep on living their lives the way it is. I would say if they said all of us now, they will tell people now that half of the population should die, which one will create more panic? The fact that everybody will just tend to like live their lives and act like nothing will happen and just allow nature take its course, or all of a sudden half of the population have died. How does that really sound in you guys here, please, if I may ask? Now, I would like to like say when the member of government and his partner said that the sage was actually selfish, the sage was this, the sage was that. Please, so for crying out loud, the sage is a human being. The sage is a human being that was created with emotions. The sage could not see people die. So the best option for him at that moment, like the guy, sorry, the sage has his own point of view, has his own perspective, and from that moment, he thought that the best option was not to wipe because he had faith in his people. He had faith that okay, yes, if we allow people to keep on living, there is no way that people will not come up with ideas and a lot of stuffs to actually keep on going. Now you made mention of hoarding. If the sage should uh, half of the population, what guarantees the fact that people will not still hoard the other hoard food? What is the guarantee, if I may ask? There is no guarantee. It is that people will keep on hoarding. People will keep on hoarding. It's just a thing of that people normally do. People will still keep on preserving food for better times or times that will be hard. So you can't just say that that if they don't wipe out will hoard. What's the guarantee that if they wipe out society, people won't hoard? That is a really, really, really uh an idea that we should actually think about. Now, I would like to like go to my point, and if there's any POI you can identify. So my first point is preservation of human life and dignity. The sage decision prioritizes the inherent value of human life, upholding the principle that every individual has the right to exist. Because the CGs have been saying, hey, we don't want the future, the younger generations to have a chance. We don't have the younger generation to have a chance. The people that are existing now, don't they have the right to exist? Don't they have the right to exist? If they tell your family now to bring you out, let you die for the younger future, won't you feel that you are being cheated? Won't you feel that you have the right to exist? Now, human resilience. History has shown that humans can adapt and thrive in the face of adversity. The same decision acknowledge humanity's capacity for resilience, cooperation, and problem solving. As the sage has already taken this big decision for the whole society, if the society can understand that, okay, yes, this is for their good, there's no way that the society will try to kill themselves or try to do something. You made mention of China taking measures like saying that every family should give birth to only 2 children. Why can't did they say that half of the
You're right.
population should be killed? Because there were times that China was experiencing overpopulation. But did they say they should kill half of their population? Because China understood the importance of the life that is in their country. They understood the importance of citizens' lives. Because I don't understand why you just be saying, kill people, even bringing up old people. Old people to have the right to exist. Even people that are about to leave, die the next minute, still have the right to exist. So you saying like as if people's life does not matter. It's really, 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 really is a poor thing to say coming from a human being. Now, history has shown that humanity often rises to challenges and finding solutions to resolve scarcity. There are times in this life that, yes, there will be problems. And when there are problems, God will give people the mindset to create solutions. And from what I've seen in the information that has been given to us, this is a prophecy. A prophecy that can actually might not be true, or a prophecy that will be true and that can actually have a solution. Yes, they said, okay, yes, people might not live more than 300 years. Fine. there are ways, there are alternative ways apart from these two ways. There are alternative ways that you can take instead of killing half of the population. If you look at it deep down, if the sage made the right decision by actually giving people that are already alive, people that are living, a chance, then they can come together and think of alternative ways of how they will live and how the younger generations will come about. We should leave we should leave the okay, they say there's a popular saying that okay, we should think about today and let tomorrow worry about tomorrow. So I don't know why we should be thinking about the future generation that we don't even know whether it will come or not, because we don't know that fracture will even start today. So I think the sage made a better decision by allowing people to live. Any POI? Because I heard POI.
Look at your time is
Okay.
up. Time is up.
Thank you.
Okay.
We thank our speaker for that fine speech, and that brings us to the end of the final as it is. Congratulations once again on making this far, and congratulations to all winners, whoever wins the debates, hopefully, and all did well. And yeah, you can all leave the call. All my judges, please stay behind so we can deliberate. So everyone leave the call, please. If you're not Grace and Ray, you please excuse us. Grace and Ryan, if you guys